Redbull Battlegrounds.
Dire's structures are fortified.
That's gate strength.
Radiant's Ancient is under attack. The battle begins. Dire team pick.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Redbull Battlegrounds North American pre-qualifier here. Thanks for tuning in to this Beyond the Summit presentation of Team eHug versus paiN Gaming. Here we're in the group stage here for this tournament here. Obviously, both sides vying for any points they can get towards putting them in a position to go into the playoffs, go into the trip to California and show what they could do on land. So yeah, looking forward to see how these teams progress, but just kicking this off here. Sorry, we are pretty far into the draft here. I just want to make sure everything was picture perfect for all the stream production quality, and we're looking good. So I'm feeling pretty good about this, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the game. So I'm going to be solo casting for now. Tomorrow night I'm sure to have a co-caster with me, but for now, just jumping into this game here. Again, Team eHug versus the Brazilians, paiN Gaming, and let's just do a bit of a speed draft here. paiN Gaming started off by banning out the Earthshaker Chen, later on the Ancient Apparition and Axe, but their pickups here, the Venge Juggernaut, obviously a lot of physical damage output there. The Phoenix, pretty interesting. I mean, if you look at Team eHug's heroes, a lot of them are kind of short range. Zeus, very low attack range and bad animation. Sand King's melee. Shadow Demon, not the best either. So Phoenix isn't too bad, but I still feel like they need a few more controllers to take care of Phoenix, make sure that the Supernova Egg is going to be able to perform well. But looking at the other pickups here, let's see. On this side of Team eHug, they banned out Troll Sniper for obvious reasons here, and they also ended up banning out Storm and Magnus in the second phase, so a little bit worried about the paiN Gaming mid lane potential. Obviously, these are good fight controllers, tempo controllers, just get really involved very quickly. But they picked up for themselves the Lina, the Zeus, the Sand King, and the Shadow Demon. Now, Sand King Shadow Demon is actually a really powerful support duo. You can get kills all over the place with Disruption, Burrow Strike, and you kind of just need a little bit of damage coming in from your carry in that safe lane, assuming you want to go for that defensive tri-lane with those heroes. That does mean, however, your Zeus is going to be pretty much off-laning here. There's not really such a thing as off-lane Lina, so it would mean off-lane Zeus. Not unheard of in the North American scene. Of course, we have seen like teams like Complexity perform quite well with that kind of a lineup. The main idea there is that Zeus just gets his level 6. He gets his ultimate up and available, and he can use it to cancel Blink Daggers, get Scouting Vision so that people don't sneak Roshan, like Juggernaut with his Mask of Madness early. That's kind of the gist of it, but also you just kind of stay back, and you're able to make sure that your tower doesn't go down very easily thanks to your counter push spam. The Viper pickup does come out for paiN Gaming, though, and it's a pretty common pickup for the South American scene in general. Like, they are very fond of just making sure they can win the lane out, and Viper, he is very survivable, even against heavy rotations, and, of course, it's just really difficult to force him out of the lane. So he's going to be doing pretty well in CS, but they are lacking overall AoE control. Like, if you look at the side of Team eHug, they've got Light Strike Ray, they've got Burrow Strike, some disruptions offensively or defensively will do a lot of work. But on paiN Gaming side, the only hard stun they have is actually a single target magic missile. So they could be looking for a little bit of control from their last pickup, but it's got to be a support. So maybe a Disruptor could be a good pickup here. It did not get banned out by eHug in the final phase. They banned out the Treant Protector, which is still a frustrating hero to go up against, especially like imagine Viper with Living Armor. You're never going to unseat him from that throne of the mid lane. But in my mind, I think AoE control is what paiN Gaming is lacking, and I've seen Disruptor and Phoenix comboed together to do some amazing things. The kinetic field actually surprisingly works very well with the Supernova. This is going to be fun, though. eHug are going to be bringing out here as a last pick the Phantom Lancer, and that means They are going to have some really hefty mid to late game potential. That actually works really well against the Juggernaut. Juggernaut, a lot of his damage throughout the mid game is based on that Omni Slash, and you can either dodge it out with the Doppelganger or at least soak up a lot of the damage via illusions. So between the Shadow Demon's Disruption and the Doppelganger from the Phantom Lancer, Juggernaut's damage is going to be hitting mostly on non-factor targets, and that's going to be putting more pressure on the Viper and Phoenix to put out damage in the team fights. The final hero here does bring some AoE control with that Earth Spike, but more importantly, he has a lot of damage, and I think the Venge Lion Roman combo is going to be causing a lot of difficulty early on if they make their smoke rotations appropriately. But that's going to be the final pick up here, and it does kind of feel like paiN Gaming have a little bit of a flimsier draft when it comes down to the full 5-on-5. They might try to just focus on objectives, take tier 1 towers, take Roche, and then with the Aegis advantage, they'll feel better about putting the pressure out. But we'll see the tempo of the two teams based on how things jump out in the laning phase. MJW is picking up that Zeus, though, and that means it is going to be indeed the off-lane position for him. He is a very versatile player. Usually just picks up things like the Bat Rider or the Legion Commander that brings that single target lockdown, but obviously showing his hand here with the Zeus, he has a few more tricks up his sleeve. So it'll be fun to see what he can do with the hero. Jumping over, hopefully the overlays are correct. There we go. So we are going to be looking at the side of Team eHug to start things out here. And, yeah, we're going to be looking at the drafter first and foremost. This is Pandago, going for the boots first, Shadow Demon. He's going to be starting off your fights looking for first blood opportunities. The follow-through could have been coming from the Sand King. He's making his move up top to get the ward out a little bit quicker, and I'll talk about that in a second. But Enzo's going to be playing that Sand King. And then the Sorrow, aka Corey, is going to be running the Phantom Lancer carry position. So your other two cores, you've got Infinity on the mid lane, Null Tally First Lina, and MJW on the Zeus. But the reason the Sand King actually goes up there is not necessarily because that's where he wants to lane, but it's because he gets the boots first. 350 MS versus the Zeus 295. He's just able to get a deeper ward with less likelihood of them seeing where he places it, and therefore more likelihood of it surviving before it gets sentried out. But anyways, they're going to be posturing for the bottom rune. Looks like it's going to be a pretty easy grab for them. Sometimes a cheeky Phoenix will go for an Icarus dive, but it's ill-advised in this position. Anywho, let's look over real quick at paiN Gaming before the blood starts spilling out. We have a boots first Lion played by King RD. 4DR is going to be running your Juggernaut carry in the safe lane. Sune, presumably on the mid Viper, actually having 5 tangos for himself. He's going to have a good time there. Baga is going to be blocking the creeps for the moment, and then maybe rotating up top. He's going to be playing the Vengeful Spirit. I've seen him do some tremendous work on that hero. And then Tavo is your offlane Phoenix. So starting off the Ring of Protection to get the early Tranquils, and we'll see if the Creequilibrium favors him. That's one problem with Phoenix sometimes is you don't really know if you're going to be able to stay in experience range or if you're going to have to constantly trade hits. And there are some real threats from like a combo where the Shadow Demon starts off with a disruption. But one thing I will mention is that it looks like it is a bit of a role swap here for the side of eHug. MJW is going to be running the support Zeus, and Enzo, despite his potential to take the jungle, is going to be going into the off lane as the Sand King. And again, he has boots, so that's not too bad for him to just kind of stay involved on that lane and keep things active. But yeah, the one really interesting thing to note is that there's a lot of potential for stacking coming out from the Zeus and the Shadow Demon that the Sand King could fall back on pretty quickly. So I could honestly see Enzo just sitting up here leeching level 3, and then as soon as he hits that, heading to the Radiant Jungle. Kind of like sometimes you see the Axe do. Bat Rider as well is pretty good about that. So at that point in time, if the lane is being pushed out, the Zeus can take it up and arc lightning down the creeps while kind of holding back in a safe position. But for now, not much action going on. A little bit of harassment going against Corey, but mostly due to the creep wave. He doesn't have a stout shield here, so being pulled under his tower does mean he's going to take quite a few hits and maybe even have to pop the salve here. But either way, you get the 2 pull coming in from MJW. He gets a lot of experience and he makes his way to level 2. So up top is going to be Enzo trading out with King RD, stuns back and forth, presumably, but for now, it's Sand King still going to be sitting in experience range, and King RD can't seem to force him out too directly. They could go for the spin here if they get the Juggernaut in the right position and have the Hex up, but looks like that's not going to be their course of action. So, Sune right now doing decently in the mid lane, 8 for 2. then you got Lena with 6 and 2 on the CS as well. She'll have her bottle coming out pretty soon. Viper just wants the boots, and that'll be on its way right now. There was a top rune skirmish, I believe, coming out. The Lena activated battery rune, but the Viper, as well as the Shadow Demon, picked up the most recent ones. So Viper was able to pick that up, Baga covering it up for him, and the Sand King couldn't really get that nice freebie to level 3. He'll just have to farm it in the lane. No real stacks coming out for him, though, I don't think. Zeus has not really focused on the central hard camp here. And as such, I think the Sand King will have to stay top for a while. So, bottle up for the Lena. Going to be coming out in time for the 4-minute spawn. I don't think she's going to bottle crow it. Some people do. They just love the reliability of bottle crow. But I feel in this position, you've got enough coverage from like a Shadow Demon roaming on the rune spawn, or you could even get the Sand King involved. Suddenly you've got that rune in the bag, and you don't have to worry about wasting the courier's time, as it is still a ground courier for at least a little bit longer. If you look at the supports gold, you've got yeah, plenty for the Shadow Demon. I was gonna call Zeus or Sand King a support, but it really could be the Shadow Demon playing a full 5 position, buying up all the supportive items, and then MJW could actually get some good progression, maybe like a Hand of Midas, to boost that experience they lost due to supporting in the lane. Either way, we do have a pause coming out here just for a moment, maybe some connectivity or ping issues for the Brazilians, so paiN will kind of take a breather here. Meantime, Tavo's not doing too bad. He's chewed through a few tangos, but he's going to get his boots of speed at the very least. So he's only going to be about 350 gold off of the Tranquils, where he's pretty much golden. Like, after you get your Tranquil boots, you don't really need anything as the Phoenix. The Midas's timing is great for getting higher ranks in your ultimate, the Supernova. But no matter the case, the Tranquil boots is all you really need to get going in the lane. So, I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of emphasis put here on the Lena. Right now, she's a little bit behind the Viper, but not significantly. But as she gets towards level 6, there's more and more kill potential if that Viper doesn't start maxing Corrosive. He actually put 2 points in Nether Toxin, which is decent against low armor heroes like the Lena. But more importantly, it just guarantees the last hits. The last hits and denies should come out pretty easily for Sune here. As we said before, it's not that much of an advantage. 3 last hits an advantage. For 2 points in Nether Toxin, that's kind of weak in my mind, but it's all comparative. And we'll see where the Viper goes from here. If he goes for more slowing potential with the poison attack, or in my mind, he should probably go for that more corrosive so that he can survive the Lena's nuke combo. He's going to be going for a mechanism build this game, though, already picking up the headdress. And whether or not he maxes that passive out early, he's still going to have the durability just from that kind of item trajectory. So, still waiting for that first blood. Where could it be coming? I think Enzo's going to play it safe enough to avoid too many issues. It's going to be actually bottom here. As I start talking about it, they already find their opportunity. Disruption into Spirit Lance and the Lightning Bolt there. The Icarus Dive just couldn't come out in time. So, good kill there. If you look at the damage, you see mostly the Zeus is able to do it, but certainly the Phantom Lancer helped out quite a bit too. Double damage rune is going to go to the Vengeful Spirit here as she looks to roam in with perhaps a Smoke of Deceit. But the most important thing I was going to mention before that first blood came out, this Observer Ward is showing the Venge's rotation constantly, and she really hasn't found much as a result. Meantime, yep, Infinity gets that nice bounty rune, and since the Sand King no longer needs to be in harm's way and the Creequilibrium is pushed all the way back out this way for the Jug, the Sand King says, okay, I'll just go ahead and jungle. And these aren't stacked out. It's not the most efficient sandstorming, but it's not like it's costing him anything. This is a 50 mana spell, and you can just use that cooldown back to back. Interesting Ring of Regen pickup, though. It means he is going to be going for this Tranquil Boot build, and there's a couple different ways you can take advantage of the Tranquil Boots. You could go ahead and just say, hey, I got some movement speed and I'll never be out of health, and that's great because Sand King's generally a low armor hero that has to dive towers sometimes. Oh, Viper Strike's going to come out in mid. Baga looking for that magic missile. The Burrow Strike will connect, but so too will the missile. Nice rotations coming in, though, and it looks like we're going to get a counter kill thanks to the Laguna Blade onto the Venge. So it turns into a kind of a 3v3 in mid with 2 supports kind of ready to jump in if it gets too hot and heavy. But the end result is just Venge going down. A level 2 Venge is not the most critical kill, but it is better than the Lena taking a fall. So now, down bottom, the Phoenix will be looking for that Ring of Regen. But for now, anything he can do to harass Corey out of some CS is not pretty valuable. He's got that rank 2 Fiery Spirit. This lane ward, though, could cause him some issue. As long as they know his position, they can maybe get a good flank on the tree line, and that's why Tavo has to play it back pretty much behind this line here. Enzo having some fun in the jungle still, doing it up, and that is going to be the Soul Ring out. Okay, this is what I'm kind of hoping for, but it's happened so rarely that I don't really get to talk about it. Tranquil plus Soul Ring is actually a really active build. It's kind of essentially saying I'm not going to be able to do much with my ultimate. I'm not going to get the Blink Dagger at the perfect timing. Oh, Soul Catcher, they're going to get the Spirit Lance. Icarus Dive just hurts him more. I think he still goes down. Yes! The Soul Catcher amplification of the Spirit Lance plus the self-inflicted Icarus Dive damage. That's a kill. And now Sand King looking for a dive onto the mid lane. This should be actually a pretty easy combo. Burrow Strike, Light Strike Array, and Venge isn't there in time, so they will get the kill on the Viper, but will there be a return? King RD dropping Infinity Low. Enzo actually tanking the tower a little bit, and they might just both get out alive. Enzo could Burrow Strike up here. He will, and with that, he's just got to bide his time. They are going to be looking for him. He's got Sandstorm available. And they don't check the tree line, so they assume he's gone, and that means he's going to be home free in no time at all. Which is odd, because they just placed his observer. I just saw that on the minimap. I'm like, okay, they should know about his whereabouts, but no, that was them now seeing their mistake and being very sad they didn't find that King of the Sands in the end. So we're going to be seeing that Soul Ring Tranquil build. I've seen Pirate Sand King do this quite a few times. For those that don't know, he just pubs a ton of Sand King, like thousands of games of Sand King. And just knowing the hero at that high of level and that frequency, you got to come up with some cool stuff. So Tranquil Soul Ring allows you to just keep on Burrow Striking. Just find opportunities to jump in, Burrow Strike, Burrow Strike, Burrow Strike, keep roaming. And essentially, it's not as potent as the teamfight potential of a Blink, but it's a nice middle ground where you don't have to be greedy and farm for 5 more minutes to pick up that combo. And yeah, it's just generally a very active early game build rather than a mid-game teamfight build. So I like it, and I think that they can find some real good potential if they comboed up with Alina once more. Speaking of Alina, she's found 39 last hits, but more importantly, 2 kills. It's actually going to go for the phase boots, so a little bit of right click coming out from this Fiery Soul. And we'll see what it avails her to. I'm a little bit worried she might not be tanky enough in the sense that like the Omni Slash could connect against her if she gets hexed up, and then she's missing that Treads HP, but assuming she plays it in a careful position and she always has like a defensive disruption waiting for her, it could be okay. Oh, right here though, Icarus Dive connects, the Magic Missile should too, but they cancel it out. The missile would connect, but she's already too far gone, and Tavo wastes a rotation. 40R in the jungle with his Morbid Mask should be finding his Mask of Madness in just 150 gold, but he's going to have to pull back the wave and try to clear out the old-fashioned way with a few right clicks here. Oftentimes you see spin used to clear out these kinds of camps too, but with only 1 point in it, it's not the best. Still, Healing Ward, the Wave of Terror, and soon to be the Mask of Madness will aid him in clearing this out. And in the meantime, the Lion is actually going to get some good farm here, so he's going to go for a straight Blink Rush. That's about 1,000 gold off. He's level 6, so 1 kill, and he's going to be about like 750 away from that precious item pickup, and that allows him to initiate and counter-initiate really well with the Hex. Tavo taking some hits here. And Thunder Gods plus Spirit Lance, it will bring him down. Again, that Icarus Dive. It's not disjoining, and these projectiles will follow through, so good communication and a great Zeus ulti timing. Not just the usage, but the fact that he's level 6 here at 9.5 minutes. Like, you can look at the support on the side of paiN Gaming. Baga is only level 4. Lion's only 6 because he took the lane. Zeus has not been given a lane, and yet, through just jungling and participating in 1 other kill, he's actually found his level 6 at a great time. So, yeah, this Phoenix is going to have a really hard time. Tavo only level 4. Tranquil Boots, like I said, is all he needs, but he's going to be just kind of chilling out, trying to get to higher levels as quickly as possible. It's about the 10-minute mark, so we'll switch over to net worth here. And check out the fact that we do have Phantom Lancer as the top dog. He's farming quickly with that Quelling Blade, Aquila, and Treads. We'll see what kind of build he follows through with. I don't think it'll be the Vlad's since he already has the Aquila, but you can technically disassemble that if you really do want that aura. Looks like some dive potential MJW on the back lines, but it's so much distance between here and here. just because they don't have the Blink Dagger on the Lion. So instead, it's just going to be a TP in. Baga has stuns, but I think he's just going to be lurking for a while here, unless they really catch Enzo off guard. Going in, magic missile to start, Finger of Death to bring him down, and it's going to be a Sandstorm away for the King. So we're going to see a TP in here. Shadow Demon has some poison to throw at him, but will they really be able to hold this is the question, and I'm not so sure. Down bottom, Disruption cancels out the Icarus dive, and they Doppelganger right on top of him, charging forward, Phantom Rush style, but 67 HP remains. The Lance connects at the end. So up top, it's only the death of the Zeus. The last hit of the tower goes to the Juggernaut, and they did take down the Phoenix. Now, I didn't catch on the tail end of that. The Shadow Demon did go down. That's just a simple Mask of Manus right clicks with the Disruption still on cooldown. Level 1 Disruption is 25 seconds, and that's a hell of a long time not to have such a key skill. Mechanism up on Sune. He goes for the phase boots too, but again, the Curse of Skin is going to help his overall survivability, so he may or may not need the treads. I actually think his health pool will be fine with just a race band. The problem is his mana pool might be insufficient. Just between the Viper Strike and the Mechanism, you're already looking at 350 mana out of his 480. So just keeping in mind that there's going to be some potential times where he wants to use an ability or an item and he just can't. Maybe, especially when that Diffusal Blade comes into play. In the meantime, 40R crosses paths with an wary Nemesis. The opposing team's carry is one that he's going to be facing off with much later in the game, but doesn't want to really go toe-to-toe with him just yet. So he's going to go ahead, farm up some Ancients, build up his farm, while Baka's actually taking his turn up top. So again, because they're so far behind right now in the early game, paiN kind of have to lick their wounds a little bit and just build up their ultimates. Get the Venge some solo experience, get the Phoenix some jungle time, and in the meantime, that's eHug's turn to be on the offensive. Observer Ward here could be a really good way to start getting good vision into these camps, but they're going to go ahead and hold it in reserve. No, they do place it out, and that is pinged immediately by the Lion. So no Sentry Wards just yet, but I presume those are going to come very soon. Oh, Blink Dagger already up for him. Smoke and Blink Dagger available, but he's probably going to wait for the Finger of Death to come off cooldown before he unveils it. Quick graph check. We've got just above 2,000 net worth on eHug in advantage, and the experience as well. Really not so much a surprise. They're not dramatically outpacing paiN Gaming by any stretch. It's just they have taken a few better trades, and they're equating their efficiency. We do see the smoke, and this could change a lot, but oh, they're very lucky that the Phantom Lancer illusion did dispel there. If they made that jump, that would be bad. Now they see, perhaps with the Thunder God's Wrath, that this is a smoke. They don't actually realize it in time. The Doppelganger still gets hit by the Earth Spike. They're going to disable him, but it's actually going to be Enzo to bring the pain. Dropping some real damage. Style is still alive. Corey is walking away, and now everybody is about to fall. 40R gets a nice spin TP off, and he will survive just by the skin of his teeth, but even still, Phoenix dropping down here thanks to, I believe, the Zeus. Just double checking that. Yes, the Zeus got the kill on the Phoenix thanks to his scouting ultimate, and did the Phoenix just straight up die to that alone? Because that would be very sad. That's just kind of lucky for the Zeus. So we'll check that. I usually do this as a co-caster rather than a main caster, but don't worry about it. Zeus was in range to kill the Phoenix earlier, and he certainly did. So anyways, let's go ahead and just get back to kind of the state of the game. Right now, the Juggernaut, he needs to make up for lost time in the kill department. He's a hero that can get a lot of kills, but he's only found a few with a right click. Lina going for the combo. This could be dangerous. Baga, no swap, skills it up, but he's not going to find the opportunity to bring him back under tower. In fact, they just go for the deny. So yeah, Juggernaut's got that Mask of Menace and level 2 Omni Slash, and he's looking to use it. So we'll see him jumping in here, but the combo comes out, and Sune, the phase boot's really hurting him as he doesn't even survive long enough to use the mech. Now Lina taking some big hits, spinning, but the self-Yules keeps him up, and 40R's taking tons of damage. Now Infinity goes down, but the Thunder God's Wrath strikes once more. It's a 3-for-1, and they're still chasing out onto the Lion. He blinks out. He will survive, but the tier 2 is going to take some massive damage here. Oh, this is so bad for paiN Gaming. Just a great fight for the side of eHug. Just using their abilities perfectly. jumping through that and focusing down the Viper before he could use the mech. The aspect there is the guy, he just couldn't survive long enough. Now we see Tavo just TPing out, looking for the Earnest Shadows, and yeah, he will finish it from the item on the courier. Alrighty, so one thing I'll talk about real quick is the Mask of Madness Yasha build on Phantom Lancer. It does kind of mimic the Juggernauts, but a lot of people will question, why go Mask of Madness on the Phantom Lancer? I thought he was an illusion-based hero. Well, honestly, the newest edition of the Phantom Lancer after his rework is really not as illusion-dependent, as more as it's just an extra bit of utility that it gets. It's a little bit of extra damage, and it's a lot more durability against things like Omni Slash. It's not until the Diffusal Blade comes out that those illusions really come into play. And Mask of Madness is hands down the best PvE item to pick up for its cost, and by that I mean he can just jungle with it really fast. He can push towers with it really fast, and when he's in a comfortable position in the team fights where he knows he's not going to get nuked down, then he can pop it for that extra boost of attack speed and movement speed, and that'll give him even more juxtaposed procs. Another nice Zeus ulti. I'm loving these MJW ultis. Every single one seems to be very impactful. Now, it is technically possible to see Smoke of Deceit occurring. So like when they were in this area and they were ganking into the jungle, they got essentially a bit of clear vision around that area. But Corey didn't pick up on that quick enough, and he almost got killed off because of it. But they've just been reacting so well that even though they missed that cue visually, it's still been their game for the first 17 minutes. And let's look at some items. We did see paiN just go ahead, grab a Roche, no contest from eHug, and I presume... No, Enzo had the Blink Dagger, so they could have tried for it, but they certainly risk things against all these ultimates from paiN. Down bottom, actually, it's Pandago right next to Baga. Don't even know about each other, despite each having a scouting skill to throw at one another. But now he reveals himself, 40R, doesn't go for pursuit, doesn't know what's waiting in the fog of war. He knows what's not. Two heroes up top, Lina and Phantom Lancer, but they each have TP scrolls, and it's just dangerous. So they'll just take the tier 1 for free. They took the Roche for free, but they are taking some major siege damage up on their top tier 2. So item progression. Aegis went to Juggernaut. He's still rocking that Mask of Madness Yasha. Probably looking for the Manta pretty early on. Oh, looking for an engagement. King RD is the one with the blink. If it's going to happen from anyone, it's going to happen from him, but looks like eHug are just not comfortable with it, and they'll fall back swiftly. Anyways, so going back, we've got point boosters up for Lina and Zeus. They're obviously going to be looking for pretty early Aghanim Scepters. It's technically possible for MJW to go for a Bloodstone here. I mean, he has 3 of the components with the Energy Booster, Point Booster, and Soul Ring, but generally speaking, the Aghanims is much more common. In the meantime, that 5 position Shadow Demon is still finding himself at 2850 net worth, which is not too bad, all things considered. He has a couple of tank items, a lot of wards, some smokes, and he's just making sure that the team can move forward unified. On the side of paiN Gaming, we do have the BKB almost complete on the Viper, but honestly, that's really all you get to say. Earnest Shadows, Blink Dagger, and that Mecha to BKB is really their real progression. Sanjin Yasha just got finished on the Juggernaut, so he'll be moving quick, but they still need to find some real farm, and it might be on the Lina here. They get the follow through, the Hex comes across, and boom! That's a nice kill. I'm not sure about that Supernova. That seems completely unnecessary, given the finger being available and the Omni Slash too. But they go ahead, they get the critical kill, and look at the experience that they get at the very least. 440 gold for the Juggernaut, but 466 for all 3 heroes. Very nice. Corey eyes out Tavo, Fire Spirits coming across. Enzo looking for a good Burrow Strike, but can't find it just yet. 40R, he gets stunned out, but it's actually going to be a swap to the low ground. Baga, what? He just swapped out the Viper when he was still full HP. Oh no, 40R now on the run, has an Omni Slash and an Aegis, but he's going to get stunned. He won't get a chance to use it until his respawn, and by then he might be up against a dozen illusions. They will get the Light Strike Array. No, the spin comes across. Tavo's fine. 40R looks like he'll be able to get out as well, but they're going to try to Blink Pursue. Lina, not close enough. So, that's a pretty chaotic fight here. I'm really not sure about the Viper getting swapped out there. He was in this position here. The Avenger was on the low ground. She swaps him, and I couldn't read the situation well enough to know if that was a misclick or not. but it just seemed like the Viper could have been a little bit more involved in that fight. In either case, they did force the Lina buyback, as the entire skirmish started off with her pickoff, but in the end she almost makes it worth her while as they take the rest of it. Now it gets a lucky regen rune. That's very valuable. Regen rune, all you have to do is just self-Euls when you pop it, and you still get a ton of HP and mana from that single usage. Zeus picks up the Staff of Wizardry, so it could be a casual point booster into 4 staff, or it could just be one more Ags component. That's going to be looking good. We do see the stun coming out of Enzo. Nice to disruption, as well as the Euls. LSA connects onto Baga. The mech is not enough to keep him alive, but Enzo falls under the Sentry Ward. Sandstorm's not going to help you there, my friend, and now it's actually going to be Corey throwing a little bit of pain their way. So kind of back and forth, but you know, in the end, we see Sanjin Yasha up for Juggernaut. He's going to be looking for either the Shadow Blade or the Battle Fury. I think Battle Fury is actually pretty good here against the Phantom Lancer. Just clears out all that clumping from those extra sources. So, yeah, that's probably the best choice here. The Shadow Blade is not unheard of. The other pickup, Diffusal Blade up on the Phantom Lancer. And like I said, that's all he really needs to get into the fights. He should follow with Manta pretty soon, and suddenly he's a force to be reckoned with. So, counter push coming through, keeping them off the mid-tier 1, and this is a pretty critical tower for them. It's essentially a proxy for the rest of the map, because they don't have a top tier 1 or a bottom tier 1. If they want to teleport to the front lines, they do so through this tier 1. So, eHug definitely want to keep this up, and that just allows them to kind of levy more control over the Dire side as well as their own. Roche respawn coming out in almost 4 minutes, and I think paiN have a bit of a Roche pit advantage unless the Sand King gets just an amazing epicenter off. But, you know, you find Thunder God's Wrath scouting potential, and sometimes you get lucky with the openings where you can smoke in and find that big ultimate. In either case, the Zeus is going to be going for that Bloodstone I was talking about. It's not the most common build, but it actually makes a lot of sense here. Just being able to kind of survive throughout the fight, be extra tanky, and in the worst case scenario, suicide early so that you can heal up the Phantom Lancer and the Lina. Like, that's a very valuable item for a support to have. So him being able to pick it up at a pretty early time is not bad at all. And of course, you get a ton of mana to just keep your spells spammed. In the meantime, Tavo has to go for either a Euls or a Force Staff pretty early on. No Hand of Midas for him, and that's very different than the standard professional Phoenixes that take the hero to the offlane. Support Phoenix, like, you only get Midas about half the time. Offlane Phoenix, I've pretty much seen it 100% of the time in the past month. So the fact that Tavo has to forgo it because of how unfortunate his laning phase was, that's just not good for them. We do see the disruption coming out. Gonna fall through with a great Burrow Strike. King RD already dead, and this egg can pop quickly. Not sure why he doppelgangered, but Corey takes it down in the end, and that's 2 easy kills for them. They were just looking for some easy pick, and in the end, they're the ones that end up being fish food. No Euls against the double damage rune. In fact, Infinity cops the stun, but it's fine. paiN Gaming are in retreat, and 40R just tries to farm while he can. Ooh, illusion, or sorry, they have some vision on this observer ward, and they're not going to pursue it at this moment. Maybe they didn't see it. Maybe sometimes the Shadow Poison vision just gives like a slightly off the side, and yeah, Baga's not going to give him a chance. Blink is not available for either of these 2 heroes, so it's a clean D ward. Back to the grass. We don't check out those frequently enough. At least that's what they tell me. So we're over here looking at 5,000 advantage for eHug, and moving in towards 6.5, 7k in terms of experience. And it's important to note that this is in spite of paiN getting a clean Roshan. They got that, just snuck it out and got the golden experience from it, but they haven't really been able to give themselves momentum as a result of it. This pickup might, though. Picking up the Battle Fury here for the Juggernaut. He is able to clear out the camp so much faster, and they can start stacking actively. Like, Baga can just kind of wave a tear whenever he sees that stack timing available. They can make sure the Ancients are nice and juicy for him, and he's going to be able to jump up to his next item very quickly. It's a great farming item, and in this game, it'll help to fight against the Phantom Lancer quite a bit. Speaking of that PL, so far hasn't gone for that Manta, and I have to consider the Scotty rush out. Like, the Manta's great for split pushing, but it's not necessary at this stage in the game. He could definitely get it a little bit later, and just get that big, chunky item of the Eye of Scotty. That way you get crazy good stats on your illusions, you get survivability for yourself, and you just lock onto a target. Not only does your Phantom Rush just keep you on your target, but then your Scotty makes sure they won't leave. So we're going to see a smoke play coming out from the side of paiN pretty soon, and I think they have to make it count. They're pretty far behind in this game. eHug have a really strong late game. Not necessarily overwhelming in its advantage, but it certainly has the potential to just take this based on farm alone. So I think paiN's game plan has to be get the Zeus's Bloodstone charges pretty low, find the kill on the Phantom Lancer if possible. Hard against that Doppelganger, but you never know. And overall, just get more map control. We see Baga has had 2 successful sentries. Actually, I think that just took out a sentry ward. It didn't take out an obs. So 1 successful sentry to take out the bottom ruin vision. And otherwise, they're just trying to get some semblance of map control. In the meantime, eHug's Infinity game plan is just get a little bit more experience. I mean, Lina's very close to her Aghanim's level 3 Laguna Blade. And once he gets that, people are just going to start dropping. Even the Juggernaut can't feel durable, spin or not. They do take another free Roche, though, and I'll mention that this time Thunder God's Wrath is on cooldown, so whether they knew the possibility or not, they didn't have any vision thanks to Baga's dewarding, and the Thunder God's Wrath being unavailable means they just go for the tier 2 and go for the jungle creeps. I have Scotty now up for Corey. This guy's farming's just so fast. I mean, you expect it from somebody who really carried Zephyr on his back in the old days, but he's definitely just as potent a farmer as he ever was, and we're seeing that he never gathered dust in the time out of competitive play. So good to see him active here. Diffusal, Scotty, soon to be Manta style, and then you can pretty much just go for whatever. A Butterfly is really good. Daedalus can actually enhance your damage quite a bit since crit does propagate to illusions. And you just got to think about like the poor supports here. If Baga gets hit by a Spirit Lance and that procs an illusion or two, what do you do in that situation? They're going to be continuously phantom rushing you, charging you down. You're losing your mana, you're losing your HP. This guy's going to die in like 6 or 7 seconds flat, and there's nothing you can do about it with just Tranquils and Magic Wand. At least the Lion has the option of mana draining, which in just a fraction of a second kills off an illusion. The Hex does too. That he has options. Baga's like swap and run. It's really awkward for him. They're going to smoke up though. Saw that smoke earlier. Thought it would be for Roche, but since they got the Great D wards out, they now get to use it as a gank. Can you see the line drawn on the map here? Going down town. Heading into the jungle. They find out MJW here, and they will just suicide. He doesn't even give them the chance. He's like, no, I'm not getting out of this. The second they have line of sight, they're going to swap me, blink hex me. And honestly, it seems weird to see it happen at 100% HP instead of like 20%, but it's probably the right option, because if you look at this chain stun, you got Blink Hex, Earth Spike, Magic Missile, and he's dead by then. So, seems a little early, but with 8 charges, you suddenly have only a 12-second respawn time, and you're back in the game. So, no harm, no foul. He just loses some Bloodstone charges, which, although unfortunate, is better than feeding away some golden experience momentum. They're going for Corey, though, looking for the play. 2 illusions to choose from. They hex the right one, mana draining him as well, but it looks like Corey still might get away. He'll doppelganger over the tree line, TP out, and there are no disables to follow through. So despite the rotation, they just can't pin him down, and it just shows how maneuverable and slippery that Phantom Lancer can be. Back over to net worth. I'm sure you guys are rioting in the chat since I keep on switching my graphs here. But net worth is looking pretty good for the side of eHug, but not dramatically. They are outclassing the supports and the Phoenix by far. But the cores are kind of on par with each other. Phoenix, or the Viper and Lina are pretty close. The Phantom Lancer and Juggernaut not far from one another. And a Geometry Sight coming out from Baga. That's a very ballsy move. Going in, he's going to have it on the courier, and we'll see who ends up picking it up, but they have to just cherish this gem and try to make sure that it stays up as long as possible, or eHug are suddenly going to dominate the entire map, no question. Eul Scepter coming out for the Sand King, Maelstrom up for the Viper, just a little bit of extra right-click for him. And we actually see the blink coming in. Burrow onto 2, both cores, and just the Aegis evaporates completely. Now Enzo taking some big hits, no epicenter for this fight. And they just pick their gem right back up. They kind of dropped it on the back line because the Venge thought he might have to go for a swap. And you don't want to swap the gem into the middle of the fight. So, just playing it smooth and passive. Sune loses all of his mana to the Diffusal Blade, but in the end it's an Aegis for a Sand King that'll be back up in 40 seconds. That Aegis, though, would have been popping in just 1 minute anyway, so kind of not the ideal time to go for the fight there for eHug. I got a question, why not just wait the next minute? You know, the case, Juggernaut's next item is going to be a Scotty of his own, and that means that he's going to get all the benefits himself, just being able to be extra tanky, stay on top of his targets, and his Omni Slash strikes, each one hitting a hero, will be applying the Scotty debuff as well as a potential maim. He's just going to be slowing things down in the fights, and if you consider the fact that that attack speed slow gets applied to nearly everybody when that Omni Slash comes out, that's less hits that are going against the Phoenix's egg, so Tavo has more flexibility with his Supernova, thanks to that combo. Still didn't go for like a Shiva's Guard though, he went for the Rod of Atos, which is cute with the Sunray, but I don't know if it's actually going to net them any real kills. Either way, it's a nice tank item, some good stats, and they do get that, but bottom tier 2, not going to be denied. Enzo goes for a cheeky play and is punished almost immediately. No, the Yule Scepter! Defensive Yules dodges the Finger of Death. Now 40R in a tough position. He does kill off the Zeus, but he's still taking tons of right clicks, and he's just on the run. Supernova on the front line goes for its full duration, explodes onto Phantom Lancer. Doppelganger out is just narrowly surviving, and it's Enzo back in the thick of things here. Man, this guy is YOLO with these Burrow Strikes. In the end, they lose the Zeus. They lose the Sand King, and they don't get the Juggernaut. He's actually nearly full health again thanks to the Healing Ward. That is actually a tremendous fight for paiN Gaming. You can see it on the graph. 3,200 experience going their way, and look at that Supernova damage. The Phoenix, the one that I felt was doing nothing all game to a degree, suddenly pitches in a huge amount with that Supernova. They just wanted the Juggernaut so bad they couldn't commit the right clicks to the egg. It is 8 hits to destroy at this point in time, and he just really brings the pain to eHug. So, going right back down to 0. We're going to have a net gain between the two, and a little bit of neutrality between the two sides. Now, it is surprising to see the Lina finding an opportunity up here, but essentially she opens up with the Blink Light Strike Array. If she gets that off, she can follow it up with the easy kill, and that's clearly what happened here. Oh, no, it's not. Sorry, I talked that up a little bit because she had her spells on cooldown. That was for the creep wave. What she actually did was walk up to the lion, who has no HP item whatsoever, hit R, and the lion dies. So sorry for missing that kill, but when it happens with literally one spell, it's not the easiest to catch, and we'll just have to watch Delina a little bit more carefully here, because she's just literally one-shot in certain heroes. The Venge lives with 100 HP from a single Laguna Blade. The Phoenix only has 700 left, and that's with the other 2 spells and some right clicks, goes down pretty quickly. And now looking at that Lion's HP, 1,034. So if he's anything less than full, he's probably going to get one shot. And he feels a little bit awkward about that one. So, oh, look at the army going to the bottom lane here, just doing some easy damage to the tier 2. But Corey's actually here with the potential to get ganked here, hiding in the tree line. King RD, waiting for an opportunity, knows his target. Blink Hex is going to come through here, I'm sure, but no, it's not fast enough. He misses the opportunity, and both just walk away. Free damage. Tavo down to like a third of his HP. This is going to be a free tier 2 for eHug, it looks like, and 4DR might even get picked off, but if you look at eHug's positioning, they're still quite wary about this, and it looks like they feel that it's just too good to be true. They're not going to try to jump in under that Supernova again, not until they can find just a clear opening. Roche, though, respawning again 35 seconds from now, and so far it's been just paiN's pit. They've been able to clearly take the Roche without any opposition, and one thing I gotta feel is the Sand King could definitely be epiing that pit. He could go for a Smoke of Deceit, and outside, even like in this kind of position here, you can actually blink all the way into the pit. So you go Smoke of Deceit, channel the Epicenter, blink Burrow Strike in, And that's some massive damage that you put out on pretty much everybody but the Juggernaut. Usually he'll get the spin off in time, but that's not always true against the Burrow. Ooh, they checked the pit right before he respawned, and they don't actually know about this. So unless they throw another person or a wave of terror in, they're actually going to be wasting some time. They could be claiming Roche for themselves. Back over to the items. Gem of True Sight in the hands of Shadow Demon. That was the one purchased by Baga. So again, that investment cost them a little bit. eHug really weren't dropping mini Sentry. Oh gosh, another combo. Thunder God's Wrath plus Laguna Blade. Always going to kill off the Lion as long as they have vision on him. And that's just, it's painful to see, but it's the life of a support in this kind of a game. Like, there's less you can do about it than a Morphling E-Blade combo. It's painful. And this Lina, props to him for finding the opening so far. Now the Smoke of Deceit comes out, but will they actually find a real target? Right now they're just kind of covering the pit so Corey can go ahead and farm this out. Dire Vision, they do see Corey. Actually going to be the fight breaking out here. BKB comes out from Sune, and it's actually going to be 40R that's slowed down by the Demonic Purge. Corey going in, trying to choose a target, but the Omni Slash plus the Battle Fury. Oh, it's broken by the Doppelganger. Supernova on the back end is bringing down MJW as well as Infinity. They're dropping low, and in the meantime, Corey, he's just trying to fight it out. Infinity does get a nice Laguna Blade to bring down the Phoenix here, but it is going to be the death of the Venge thanks to Enzo on the Sand King. So they clean it up pretty nicely. Corey is able to go for a full disengage thanks to his impressive mobility and Doppelganger usage, but the rest of the fight is pretty catastrophic for the side of eHug, losing the Lina, the Zeus, as well as the Shadow Demon, and they're probably going to lose the Roche. They only have 2 alive. Epicenter again could come from the high ground there, but Enzo is preoccupied with the bottom lane. So I think that's really the thing that's missing from the eHug lineup is all these epicenters. Like, if you're going to pick up a Sand King and not cast the epicenter the entire game, then it just doesn't feel like you're really making much value out of this selection. I'm not saying that he should have an epicenter every fight. I've played Sand King enough to know that's near impossible, but there has to be a fight where he makes a real AoE damage output contribution, and so far we just haven't seen it. Nice Burrow Strikes, not bad at all, but we need that epicenter if you're an eHug fan. But paiN Gaming, they're showing a lot of strength here by dividing that fight really nicely. Oh, Enzo actually, there's that epicenter. I was talking it up, and finally it does come out. Epicenter, Blinking, Burrow Striking, and Sandstorming that actually can do like 1200 plus damage. Right there, only 1059 required, as we've talked about how squishy this Lion is with his items. He did go for a point booster, helps him out a little bit, but not enough, unfortunately. So, yeah, Enzo going for the Epi combo, clean kill, and he gets the Gem of True Sight back in his hands, so very nice for them. Still, the Aegis is going to be on the Juggernaut, and he does go for the double Battle Fairy build. I was wondering if he might, but 40R says that 35% cleave is not enough. Let's go 70. So essentially, when he strikes a target with an auto attack, even the ones that happen in between the Omni Slashes, he will be doing the 100% damage mitigated by armor to the single target, and 70% damage unmitigated to anybody else that's nearby. And that's huge. That is going to just crush the Illusion army of Phantom Lancer. And it's going to be on Corey to make some more Doppelganger plays like we saw. Looks like Enzo's going to be going for a BKB next. But Baga gets the Scout out. Wave of Terror connects. Enzo, he does get the Invis. They don't have detection. They can't swap him down. And he's just going to be able to Burrow Strike away. So, awkward position. And the Sentry Wards, I swear he didn't have those a moment before, but maybe the courier, yeah, the courier just brought him out. So they go ahead, deward that cliff. If he had them 5 seconds before, that would have been a dead Sand King and a much more open map for paiN. But as it stands, graphs still pretty close to 0 here. This is a very close game here, 39 minutes in. And I was talking about that late game, and although I would give the advantage a bit to eHug, it's only a bit. I still think paiN have a tremendous potential to take this late. If the Phoenix plays it well, if they can deal with this Lina threat of the pure damage nukes and make sure she doesn't farm something like a Hex Refresher, then yeah, they're in a pretty good spot this game, I'd say. But we'll see. Right now, Smoke of Deceit coming out from the side of paiN. King RD Baga leading the charge, but the Thunder God's Wrath scouts it out. And this should be the call for retreat for everybody here, including Infinity. Looks like he doesn't want to go just yet, and they are pegging out that direction. Will they be able to Wave of Terror scout him in time? They see the trees gone. They see Infinity. The self-fuels does not come out. BKB. TP is what he's got to do. He kills off Baga, but he's got to get out somehow. Instead, he just gets crit. That's a terrible trade. Yeah, he just is not able to disengage from that position. Thought maybe he could just hide in the trees, come out with the creep wave, clear it out, and then TP away and kind of play a little bit of a backdoor stance on the Lina. But Wave of Terror is really good for scouting over the tree line, and they just make it so that he can't get out. BKB TP doesn't work there because of the Nether Swap, as well as the Omni Slash, both mini stunning through BKB. So here we go, tier 2 down for all lanes for the side of eHug. One standing for paiN here, 328 HP on this one in particular. Abyssal comes out for the Phantom Lancer though. Corey's been farming this for a while, and it just makes him pack that much more of a punch. Now again, this doesn't really benefit his illusions, but it allows him to lock down the Juggernaut, which is pretty much the key. If he gets Abyssal Bladed or Laguna Bladed in a fight, it's very unlikely the Juggernaut is able to do much, unless he has that Aegis. So for now, Enzo, he'll finish up his BKB. 10-second BKB in him, I believe 9 for the Lina. Yes, and then on the side of paiN, Viper has an 8-second BKB. So all in all, not really much focus on magic immunity, and that's just because there's a lot of hybrid damage coming out. I mean, you've got the physical damage from the Lancer, the pure damage from the Lina. Even the Shadow Demon is pretty good at dealing with BKBs. The Demonic Purge as well as Defensive Disruption. And you don't get much. Not at all. So this line is now at 1160 HP. The Ogre Club will help a little bit, but it's still scary for him because he can get nuked down at any time. Infinity just quick blink play, kills him off, and that's a pretty bad time. paiN kind of sieging down the mid lane, but they just lost their Aegis. The Pipe of Insight for the Phoenix is nice, but it only really prevents the Sand King, and if he just waits out the Pipe as it's already half gone, then he can still go for the full Epicenter play. So this is a bit awkward, and I don't know why they're still here. Honestly, they lost their Pipe, they lost their Aegis. This is a very dangerous position for paiN, but they kind of are looking like they're going do or die without the Phoenix at level 16. Like, I feel that that's a very significant tactical error, and eHug could just go right out and meet them. But at least for the moment, they're turtled up inside. They feel that paiN have too many tricks up their sleeve, and they're just going to wait for their opportunity to make the jump. So in the meantime, the tier 3 takes a few hits, but not many. And there's the Burrow Strike, now punishing them, going directly in. The swap out gives 40R the chance to pop the cheese, and it's just going to be the death of the Venge early. Sune now evaporates to the Laguna, but we are going to see that Battle Fury plus Omni Slash combo going down, bringing in a lot of paiN, but he can't get the cheese. 40R goes down in the stun duration, and now Tavo's out of position completely. He goes down, the Lion getting caught out by Infinity, and suddenly they're in a position just to go right up down the mid lane and take the full racks. We see the fight recap, and it's just disastrous for paiN Gaming. And again, I just don't know why they chose that time to fight. The Aegis had just expired. The Phoenix is level 15 instead of 16. A big difference between 8 and 11 auto attacks. It wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right place. And in the end, they just get obliterated. That's just insane. Going in, the tier 3 going to drop down very quickly. Corey doesn't have the best tower killing items. I mean, he, like, the Abyssal Blade, yeah, it's just not great for killing off the structures, but they've got plenty of time on their hands with paiN not willing to commit any buybacks.
Dire's middle barracks has fallen. Dire's top tower is under attack.
So we're going to see the glyph popped out, but they're still here up top. Enzo has the Epicenter as well. They have the Laguna Blade. Juggernaut buys back, and they go in full retreat. Can Baga get anything without a Blink Dagger? It doesn't seem like it. Oh, Enzo's in swap range, but he's the one going on the offensive. Crazy plays from Enzo, but in the end, doesn't mean anything. And yeah, they walk away. They leave some wards in their tracks here, one on the high ground. Centering out mid just in case they do the cheeky, oh, your tier 3's gone ward. But the end result is a full lane of racks down mid, a buyback on the Juggernaut, which is probably even more impactful here at 45 minutes. And then, yeah, they're starting to build up these BOTs, so they can go for global plays now. This is scary. This is really scary for paiN Gaming. They have to find a pick-off now. They could just farm the Lion a little bit more. As it stands, King RD, if he gets an Aghanim Scepter, he becomes a real damage threat in the fights. The problem is living longer than the 20-second Scepter cooldown to get your Finger of Death off twice. If you can get 2 fingers out, you're putting out more damage than most heroes in this game. But he just dies so quickly that it seems unlikely. Actually, we're going to see Baga getting completely picked off here all by himself. Essentially, Sune's here, but this is just more fuel for the fire as we're going to see a bunch of people jumping in. Blink Dagger available for the Lina. She wants her prey. Baga looks like she's going to be Laguna'd. 2, 1. No, they don't go for it. Not committing underneath the Phoenix Juggernaut. It's got actually a swap and a blink back at the same exact time. Baga now eats the Laguna, and the Shadow Demon Poison pops out just before the Phoenix can look to pipe. So, nice little combo there. Just a tiny little bit of damage from the Shadow Demon, but it does its job. Pandago gets the kill. Now it's done into mid. Maybe not the best call. No Force Staff just yet. Enzo can't bail out of this. Self-Fuels. Not going to be able to get too far. Still going to try to go for it. Yes, he does get the Burrow Strike, the Sandstorm, the Blink away. And although it costs him a lot of cooldowns, they just can't pin him down. The Juggernaut's not the one with the Abyssal Blade. That's the side of eHug. JW, on the other hand, kind of tempting fate here up against the Lion. Lion would love to find a kill opportunity here, and he's got the backup of the Phoenix. So they see MJW. They're converging. 2v1. Might have to go for another Bloodstone Suicide very early on. And he will go for the Suicide, dropping down to 4 charges. But again, that's a kill that doesn't benefit paiN to a monetary capacity. He does lose 400 gold. He does go down for about 40 seconds and lose some charges, but in the end, he was willing to take that risk to get more push out on that top lane. And soon enough, he's going to have that Refresher Orb. Ooh. People smoked up here, looking for an opportunity, but Radiant Vision is pretty lacking at this point. Baga, again, out in the river, and they see him. They saw him walk right in, but they're worried there might be more inside that Roche pit. So Enzo's got to open with the Burrow. Just onto Baga. No, they miss. Luckily, they should still get the kill, but at a cost of a critical positioning. If the Phoenix jumps in there, gets an Atos, gets the Icarus dive on people, they're locked in the river, and 4DR as well as Sune can just tear them apart. But it's a vision issue from both sides. Since they were coming out of smoke, paiN weren't sure if that was 4 heroes, 3 heroes. It's really hard to read too quickly. So in that sense, everybody just falls back, and it's going to be another support pickoff. I don't know if you can call the Zeus a support. He started support, but MJW has found a whole new world of farm here. 15,000 golden experience. eHug looking really strong with that 1 lane of Rax advantage. Now we see the Ethereal Blade coming out for Lina. She has got quite a bit of intelligence, so already a pretty powerful magical nuke, and it does amp up her Slave and Light Strike array. Other than that, it's a great defensive ability to use on somebody getting right-clicked down by the Juggernaut, and we'll see if that comes into play at all. Actually, 40R with the Mjolnir on him, but he still gets stunned out. They're going to be able to chain stun it. No! She doesn't go for the Light Strike array. She used it on Roche to get her Stacks of Fiery Soul up. Now Sune all by himself here. He does pop a cheese. He has a mech, but it's all setting up for the Juggernaut. No Corey Doppelganger just yet, but Lina just says, okay, pop the Ethereal Blade, get the kill. 40R going down fast, and he will be swapped. Still going down. Baga taking some hits. Tavo already exhausting everything he has. He will fall to just the nukes. On both sides, they will fall. Double kills coming across, and they're even going to blink pursue the Lion, who is already out of here. He's going to be hit. They're going to call GG, and that's going to be the conclusion. It's just too many good fights coming out for eHug. You see that one, final one to finish it off. eHug played an amazing game with some very powerful, skilled heroes. I mean, the Lina did some amazing work. We'll check her KDA in a moment, but just in general, eHug had a draft they knew how to fight with. And although they had some issues getting Enzo involved in ultimate capacity, in general, they did a lot of work here. You see, Lina had 14 kills, 6 assists. Zeus, always very involved, and just finished the Refresher. They worked it out really well. I like the way they rotated their lanes early on with the Sand King starting off lane and then jungling when he had to. And they really put this Phoenix behind. I think that's a very defining aspect. If this is like your Ice Phoenix or some other extremely top-tier off-laner playing the Phoenix, and he's able to get some insane resources off of the off-lane. Like he's able to get some CS, survive constantly, get full experience, etc., then suddenly you've got a Hand of Midas, Shiva's Guard, Hex Phoenix on your hands. But because the Phoenix had to go just for like a Tranquil Boots, Urn of Shadows, Atos build, his progression was terrible for this 49-minute game, and he just doesn't become that big of a threat. So, all in all, eHug, they keep the bottom lane suppressed, they perform very remarkably in the fights, and that concludes our game 1 here. So that was our first match here, group stage match between Team eHug and paiN, and we're going to be going into another North American, or rather American Dota game very shortly here for the Red Bull Battlegrounds. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to Beyond the Summit. I myself am Blaze. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the cast. It's kind of like riding a bike for me, getting back into the play-by-play thing. I've been doing a lot of analysis for Beyond the Summit recently, but only just now started getting back into streaming and casting, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it. If there's some camera issues, if there's some play-by-play issues, you need me to get more hype, then let me know. Just shoot me a tweet at BlazeCasting, and of course follow at Beyond the Summit for all the awesome content they're going to be bringing. So this is just the beginning of the NA pre-qualifier here for the Red Bull Battleground, and we're going to be seeing a game very shortly. So thanks for tuning in so far, and see you in the next game.